Yo guys, this is Reinhardt, this is your favorite Russian talking, and today we're gonna be talking about which 100 level talents are good for which particular battlegrounds. So we have Necrotic Like, which basically by far one of the greatest AoE spread pressure talents DKs actually have, but there is actually a very long ramp up time. The file is actually stronger than Necrotic Like on those particular cases where there's a huge clusterfuck, there's a lot of Dinkelberg standing on the ground and not even noticing it, and coupled with that actually with the utility glyph that snares people by 50%, the file is actually gonna be a really good talent to pick for either regular battlegrounds or even rated battlegrounds. And last but not least, we have Breath of Sindragosa, where you puke a bunch of frost shit out of your mouth and basically you fuck shit up. Works great with your mastery, highest burst talent for Unholy, hands down, and it's actually good and I think will be really great on some maps that require high burst levels. So let's go through each battleground separately. So we have first of all Warsong Gorge, where people run like a headless chicken trying to kill people inside of a flag carrier, most of the time. So, which are the best talents here? Well, first of all, in my opinion, Breath of Sindragosa and Necrotic Like are kind of equal here. There's a lot of spread going on here in terms of you're not gonna get a lot of clusterfuck going for the file to be effective. That's why I usually put it the worst talent possible here. The other one is it depends on the comp you're running. If your comp is all about just grinding people down to the dust, then I would say Necrotic Like is the best one. If your comp is about just bursting the FC down when the stacks are up, then I would say that Breath of Sindragosa. So Breath of Sindragosa and Necrotic Like are equal here, and the file is being the worst. Next map, again, because of the similar kind of a platform situation where the melee gets up front and sit on your healer's balls or caster DPS balls, and then the enemy caster DPS and healer stay in the back, essentially you have two choices, where you put a defile on the back of the enemy group and they're probably gonna cut it very easily, or you put it in front of the melee group, but neither than that you're still not gonna utilize the defile on the best potential. Therefore Necrotic Like and Breath of Sindragosa still gonna be two of your best talents. Now let's talk about the maps that are actually clusterfuck, like Battle of Gilneas. Basically, the idea of these maps is you have to stand, you have to stack on the flag itself. And even if you're not gonna stack on them, you still have to be relatively close to it for a needed AoE damage or just needed in general support. So in this actually maps, the file truly shines and it actually does a tons of damage. The file is more useful, I think, in rated battlegrounds because you have this massive teams of 9v9 going on, 8v8, and during those clusterfuck times the file will shine. Eye of the Storm, the file I think is even better, to be honest, than actual Necrotic Like or Breath of Sindragosa by miles, because when there's a center fight in the middle, the file is gonna wreck things up, and the file actually legitimately does a lot of damage. To my calculations, if you have about 5 or more targets present on the file begins on a more effective talent than Necrotic Like itself. Plus you don't have to stack it, so go nuts, you don't even have to worry about the stacks. Arathi Basin is a little bit different. While I do think the file is actually gonna shine here as well, especially for that initial fight at lumber mill or even a blacksmith. Essentially, I think it still would be very viable to pick Necrotic Like on the premises is while the fights here are big, they're also kind of a little bit more spread out. But even then, I would rank here as the file and Necrotic Like is the best, and Breath of Sindragosa being the worst talents. Silvershed Mines I think is also gonna actually benefit from the file the most, because A, with the glyph it snares, and B, on top of it, you can set it up where your opponents have literally no choice than to walk through the file and build a tons of stacks. On the other hand, while people walking away from the file, if you suck at your positioning here, the file actually becomes washless. So make sure if you're using a defile on this map, you're putting it a front when the card starts moving instead of putting it in the center or in the back. Also keep in mind that your AoE grip works perfectly well with the defile as well. For a Deep Wind Gorge, I kind of found out that they actually all three more or less semi-balanced. They all actually have their own uses. For example, on the top or the bottom, for those two mines, Necrotic Like actually works the best. For the clusterfuck mid and initial fight there and ongoing fights, Defile is the best. And for killing those pesky cart carriers or whatever the hell they called, actually Burst of Cidragoza, because it does have the best burst. So here actually it all depends on where you're gonna be stationed, where you're gonna be positioned, and how much roaming you're gonna do and what exactly you're gonna be assaulting. So pick your playstyle there, pick what you needed from you in a random battlegrounds or rated battleground, and go with it and pick the talent according to that. And last two but not least, two Mongoloid maps, which is Isle of Conquest and Alterac Valley. Numbers in whatever. Well, here you basically have a minor flip-flop where Necrotic Like I think is the best talent, and then the Defile is second best, because while there is an initial fight and there in some cases Defile actually becomes better than Necrotic Like, especially when there's a Zerg on Zerg push and clash, constant clash, and Defile can actually get on a 5 or more targets, then yeah, Defile is the best. But I think most of the time actually Necrotic Like will be the best, Defile is gonna be the second best, and then of course Burst of Cidragoza will be the worst. And now, quick disclaimer, the last BG that the Tauren South Shore versus Tauren or whatever the hell it's called, I haven't played it yet, I haven't even experienced it yet all that much, to the point where I can actually give you guys feedback. So for that one, I'll probably gonna tweet or something saying which ones are gonna be the best for which case scenario. Well, that's about it guys, thanks for watching my video. Yes, there was a lot of slides and I'm gonna be streaming soon, so thanks for watching my friends, and до свидания.